What's going on, Circle family? Pastor Lacey here, and welcome to another month on the Circle Squad. Y'all, it is month 3 of 2021. I don't know where the time has gone, but yet again, we've made it to another month, and I'm excited to be walking into a new month with you. Before I get started, I want to make you so keenly aware that we have been praying for you, for everyone who has been affected by these winter storms, power outages, the second strand of this newest strand of the coronavirus, as well as those of you all who have gone into a second phase of quarantining. We have been praying for you. It is not go unnoticed that we have family members, group leaders, and people who are connected to Relentless that are all over the world. And so I just want you to know that we're praying for you. We're believing that better days are ahead, and we are definitely lifting you up during this time. So I just want you to know that these prayers, the prayers of the righteous, do availeth much, but I needed to let you know that we have been lifting you up. And so as we go into a new month, as we go and get into some of this information that I'm going to share with you in a moment, I wanted you to know first and foremost that you are not alone and that we are in this together. So with that being said, welcome to the Inner Circle, your monthly video newsletter for all things encouragement, information, and inspiration. Let's get started. Okay, new month, new year, new you, new groups. We're excited. I'm excited, you guys, for a new month of groups. And in this month, we actually are covering 4 weeks of content. So what that means is that you're going to be getting an email from me for weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6 during the month of March. So don't forget that the first week of the month, of course, we're always off in order to provide a little bit of leader refreshment, as well as allow for us to meet together corporately or virtually for Pursuit Night. So be sure to participate in this month's Pursuit Night and just make your groups aware that we won't be meeting the first month of the year. The first week of the month. Wow. Okay. So as we are preparing for weeks 3 through 6, I wanted to remind you that the content that you'll get on a weekly basis is still going to be part of the intentional series. Pastor John kicked off the new year with an awesome word that we're grasping to for the entire year, the year of the intentional. And in groups, we are also being very intentional with the conversations that we have. So you'll be provided a conversation guide, and we are actually running about 2 weeks behind the current sermon. So what that means is this weekend, we will get an awesome word from the pulpit, but we probably won't talk about it in groups for about 2 weeks. And why, you might be asking? Great question. We have an awesome team that has stepped up to help me create content, and we are just trying to get caught up. We are catching up with some of the great messages that happened in January and in February, and we just wanted to make those available for you as leaders to talk about in your groups. So we have a different strategy this season where we are going back to make sure that we get those rich nuggets that are from the intentional series, because that is the word that we are anchored in for this year. So be on the lookout every week for a new intentional series conversation guide, and just take the time to take notes now. Let them marinate. Get them in your heart. Get them down deep so that when you get that discussion guide, you will be ready to go. And speaking of discussion guide, that moves me into my next topic, which is a little bit of a leadership tip. Leadership tip for you guys in getting our conversations to a place of deepness, to a place of richness, and a meaningful conversation. That will only come if we ourselves as leaders are setting the standard for our groups. What does that mean, Pastor Lacey? Well, first of all, we have to set some order. So let's take the off week as a time to refocus, recalibrate, and come in stronger in this new month. When you come back to your groups, I encourage you to make sure that you are letting everyone know that this is a safe place to process, to grow, to develop in our faith, and to get some encouragement. No, we won't be able to solve everyone's problem, but we do want them to be able to share it within the context of a group. And for those people who are new to the group, this is going to be a wonderful opportunity to just create a little bit of structure, a little bit of order within the group dynamics so that people feel comfortable opening up. They're not going to be afraid that you're going to cut them off, or they're not going to be afraid that they won't have an opportunity to share because someone's talking for a long time. Again, we just want to create order and create a space where people feel comfortable sharing. Secondly, it's going to be imperative to open up as group leaders. Y'all, we sometimes get this mentality that we're leaders, so therefore we may need to keep ourselves kind of like looking spotless because, oh, I'm leading, so I can't have baggage, or I'm leading and I have to have it all together in this area of my life. That could not be further from the truth. If we all had to have it all together in order to lead, I don't think anybody would be leading any church. We do not have it all together, but I do believe that we should be transparent and honest so that our conversations can get to beyond the surface level into the deep things. Don't we love the deep things? I love a deep conversation. Now, everyone isn't like me, but I know when someone's being surfacey and when they're not really sharing what's going on. So am I asking you to open up about every single little thing, the argument that you had with your spouse, or the aunt that gets on your nerves that will not return your phone calls, or, you know, that tough situation that you're walking through that is really, really close to your heart and you're still processing it? I'm not asking you to share everything, but I am asking you to share your life. We have to be able to open up our lives to others. If they're going to see, just like Jesus showed doubting Thomas, he showed him the scars in his hands. He wasn't trying to clean himself up and trying to convince the disciples that he was Jesus because he was so perfect and pristine. No, he actually said, this is my side is being opened up. These are the nails in my hands. I'm a real person. I'm that person that you know. I don't have it all together, but I do want to share with you who I am because I believe that my story and my scars can bring hope and healing to your life. And that's what we get to do. We get to lead from our scars. We have to be able to do that and know that that's a very real part of leadership. We can't always have it all together, but we can be honest about where we are. And I do believe that as we continue to open up our lives to really lean into the idea of transparency as leaders, that we too will be able to see others open up their lives to share what God is doing in the areas in which we can support them. I think that these conversations will just naturally yield into an opportunity to provide accountability, to check in between group meetings and say, hey, you mentioned you were struggling with this. How's that going? Or you mentioned that you had this issue with your family member. Has that been resolved? Or you've been praying about this. What has God been doing this week in that area of your life? And I think that is going to make all the difference during this time where people feel isolated and they don't feel seen or even maybe valuable at times. Knowing that someone is checking in on them, something that they shared within the group meeting sparked someone to follow up with them. That is huge, guys. That is huge. And that's what it means to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And, we're going to just keep moving forward with information. So what's going on this month? We got 3 big things I want to share with you. Service projects. Say it with me. Serve like crazy. We need to learn how to serve like crazy within our groups and to really develop that part of the ministry. It's something that's been a desire of my heart, but I realize I haven't given you all the tools that you need to do, that you need to be able to serve collectively as a group. So this year we're being intentional with partnering with the Reach Ministry to do just that. We're going to serve like crazy in 2021, starting with the Loads of Love initiative. So you'll be hearing more about that later on this month, but be aware that we will be going to the community to fold clothes, to love on people, and to provide laundry, detergent, and supplies. Additionally, we'll be helping with our Mother's Day initiative. We'll be helping with a community service project, back to school initiative, and a food challenge, a food pantry challenge later on in the year. So be on the lookout for that information. Secondly, for those of you guys who have students or kids, Kingdom Kids and Relentless Youth are coming back this month. I know that this has been a tough time for our young people, but we want to make sure that they are getting that community and getting those resources and really having the opportunity to connect with God's word on a level that matters to them. So for information on the youth department, please follow them on Instagram at My Relentless Youth for all those details. There's great things going on, services, initiative, small groups. They're going to be doing those with our youth. And so we're just really excited for them to get started. Again, follow them on Instagram for all the details. And for Kingdom Kids, we're going to start at the end of March, right before Easter, servicing our young kids, our school age kids. So we're excited about that, but there is an update. Registration will be required. So I want to just encourage you guys that Elder Shalisha and the team are taking every precaution needed to create a safe place for your kids to go during church services. But we need to be prepared, so we need you guys to register. That's going to be a requirement moving forward. So please just be ready for that. Space will be limited based on the registration numbers as well as based on the capacity of our classrooms. So do me a favor, when you see that registration drop, we'll let you know, but register. And it will just be one service at a time starting out so that we're able to service as many children as possible. So just want to remind you, Kingdom Kids, service projects, and Relentless Youth are back. And finally, y'all, this is the end of our video. And normally I do this at the beginning, but I wanted to make sure that you guys we left it on a high note. So just a little bit of encouragement for you all. As I was preparing and coming up with the information and preparing for this video and editing this video, it was just so apparent to me that we have to be reminded about the why. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why is it important? And what does that mean for me as a leader, leading with this ministry? As you know, you guys, we have a huge vision for our church. We are here to create community, to have intentional acts of worship, intentional acts of service, purposeful acts of community. We're doing a lot, and we're caring for the whole individual mind, body, and soul. And as we're doing that, sometimes it's easy to lose sight of why what we're doing within that bigger vision is important. So my encouragement comes to you from Hebrews 10, verses 23 through 25. It reads, "We must continue to hold firmly to our declaration of faith. The one who made the promise is faithful. We must also consider how to encourage each other to show love and to do good things. We should not stop gathering together with other believers as some of you all are doing. Instead, we must continue to encourage each other even more as we see the day of the Lord coming." And as I was reading through this, three things stood out to me. First, it says we must continue to hold firmly to our declaration of faith. How many of our faith has been shaky during this season? It may have started before 2021. 2020 was hard for a lot of us, and a lot of things were shaken off of our lives, not by choice. I know for me, there is some things that God is saying, you thought you needed that, but you really, really don't need that. And it's caused me to really have to cling tightly to my faith in a new and more tangible way in this season. So us as leaders, if that's happening in my life, I know it's happening in your life as well. We have to hold firmly to our faith, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like. Faith is a substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, meaning that if we see it, if we can't see it, that's where the faith kicks in. If you can't see hope, then we have to hold even more firmly to our faith that hope is gonna rise yet again. If you can't see the finances there, we have to hold fastly and firmly to our faith until we see that promise that God has promised us. So I encourage you, one, hold fast to your faith. No matter what you're believing for, hold fast. Secondly, we have to remember to encourage each other. Sometimes when things are getting really tough, we tend to turn inwardly and really only think about ourselves. But in this time, the world needs us. Light shines brightest in the dark, so we have to be intentional with reaching out, encouraging others. And as we encourage others, we too will be encouraged in our soul. Listen, it's kind of like when you're pouring out. You're pouring out a cup. I have a cup right here, and there's some water in it. And I really want to drink this water. It would be really great. But I'm thinking, okay, so yes, I just drank that water because I'm thirsty. But what about someone else who is thirsty? What if I just held on to this water and I saw a lot of people who were thirsty, but I was just really like, I appreciate that you're thirsty and I have some water, but I'm really scared to give you my water because I'm afraid that when I give you my water, I won't have what I need. But no, the word of God is he's the water. Jesus is the living word. And his word is water to our souls. So as we're pouring out that encouragement from the word of God, I believe that is making more space for us to be filled. As we're pouring ourselves out as a drink offering, we have more space to be filled up by God. And no, I'm not saying lead from an empty cup. I'm not saying pour out everything you got and don't leave anything for yourself. That's really not what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to be intentional because we're vessels. We're carriers of God's presence. We have to be intentional to pour that out so that the Lord can refill us. So let's just take this week off to get refilled. Let's pour into ourselves, allow the Lord to fill us so that we can go the distance as leaders in this month. And then the third thing that stood out to me, and I will let you go, we should not stop gathering together with other believers. If that doesn't speak to circle groups, I don't know what does. In this time of social distancing, and many people are feeling isolated, lonely, depressed, anxious, you name it, we have been dealing with it collectively. We cannot forsake the importance of the small group. Whether or not we're able to have thousands and thousands of people moving forward in a church building or in a setting, we can still meet on Zoom. Is it fun every single week when we want to have personal, physical, in-person interaction? No, it's not going to be fun every single week, especially staying safe and making sure that others, we're respecting the fact that some people have different levels of comfort. But we cannot forsake the assembly of the saints, because one of our key scriptures here on circle groups is where there is unity, God commands the blessing. So let's continue to stay encouraged. Let's continue to hold on to our faith. Let's not forsake the assembly with other believers. So y'all, this is a new month. It's a new opportunity to be poured out and to get refilled as leaders. And I just know that God is with us. We're so excited, and I'm excited for what God is doing through circle groups at Relentless and through you individually in your groups. And so I'm excited for a new month, and we're just super thrilled to have you join us for this inner circle, and I'm excited for what God is going to do through you. Have a wonderful month, and go be great, and we'll see you next month. Bye-bye.